sometimes your best things happen when you believe you're so against the wall, you don't have a choice, but you take action because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It was like, this is my opportunity to prove I'm going to be able to do it because I only have to bet on myself. I don't have to bet on any decision anybody else makes. And I'd also paid attention in the industry, being in charge of North American sales. I had a lot of my customers that were coming up saying, hey, it's been great working with you guys. I'm retiring. I shut my business down. There was nobody buying those businesses. So my strategy was I'd leave the manufacturing side and I'd become the first one to buy the businesses. And since they weren't really selling them and there was no value, they'll just give them to me. That was my thought. And I thought, well, I haven't saved, after I sold my house and moved in a little teeny tiny home in Oregon, I had saved enough cash that I could live like 10 months. So I was like, this is no problem. I'm going to get 1 or 2 or 3 businesses and then I'll start making money. Well, I was 7 or 8 months into trying to convince the first person to sell me and I was running out of money. And that's where you really question yourself. And I'll never forget because I was driving up to Vancouver, BC to meet the first business owner that said, yes, I will sell you my business. And I was driving up there and I had to convince him to sell me half his business for a note because I didn't have any money. And everyone else had said no. And so I was driving up there. It was foggy. I pulled over just outside of Seattle on the way from Portland to Vancouver, BC. And it just overwhelmed me that I might actually have tactfully or technically made a mistake believing I could do this. And I pulled over on the side of the car. It was foggy out. I couldn't hardly see. And I sobbed like a little baby. Like when my parents first got divorced when I was 8. I remember feeling that same way. Like, it's helpless. I'm screwed. What did I do? I threw my whole life away. And I did that for about 15, 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, a little voice inside my head said, you just need to get your first hit. You just need to hit so hard. I got my shit together and I drove up to Vancouver, BC, and I got that person to tell me yes. And then I also raised my first $1 million. And it all happened quickly once I decided there was no other alternative. I just forced myself to make it happen. And that's a difficult thing to explain to people, but sometimes your best things happen when you believe you're so against the wall, you don't have a choice, but you take action because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And once you do that once, you have the belief you can do it forever.